Well, look who's back to sow chaos once again.
Don't talk about yourself like that.
Oh, he's coming
Oh,
in hot. Coming
already
in hot.
starting off.
It is the one and only Caleb Zeringue, who is not only is it an insurrection? You've come to take over the podcast,
Okay.
and it's an attack, it's an invasion,
Uh-huh.
and you were also several minutes late today, and I don't know if you knew that
I did,
I
and I
am
don't care.
I'm the late one.
Well, not today, I guess. So, yeah.
You were picking up your dog's poop, right?
No, I was looking for my headphones today.
How's your dog?
She's good. She's tired. She's got a little bit of a limp actually, so we got to get that checked out.
Like
So,
are you talking about like a limp walk or like a limp dick?
definitely a limp walk since she's a she. But actually, that's transphobic of me to say
Yeah,
that.
and a lot of people deal with erectile dysfunction. I don't think that there's any shame. There's a variety of medicines available.
Right, and you've told me how much of a problem is for you, which
I
is
have not said that. It has not been a problem for me, but I will not shame. I will not shame those who
yeah.
take a little pill and then they get a little boost.
Then there's no problem with that.
How's your sex life going?
Great, yeah, wonderful. See,
Um,
this is you were like, let's record the thing, and now I'm like, can we turn off the part of our brain that knows we're being recorded?
But maybe I think okay. So we had discussed this as a writing session, and then I was like, I was clipping out the last episode, and I was like, we should just record it in case there are gems. But I think there's something about being recorded that like triggers the thing in your brain, like the creative, like the on-stage chip in your brain. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Well, that chip in my brain doesn't work very well for me lately. So that which is really considerate after I told you that I had stage fright, and you're like, "Let's write together, but I'm going to record it." And I was like,
Well,
"Wow, what
it's
a
called
thoughtful guy."
it's called exposure therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
No, I'm stupid. I don't know anything.
so I was doing this thing where I was watching back a long set. You know how how even if it was a great set, watching yourself is like so like it's like you have to like be in the right headspace.
So hot. I love
No,
watching
like I no, like it's that thing of like, oh God, is that how I move? And like just that like
Yeah.
I was watching back a really good set, but I get like there's listening back to it can tell you a lot, but then watching it back
Ugh.
like so I took like all these notes that I was integrating into the Word doc where I keep like the current version of all the jokes.
Okay.
And
Can I see your setup? I'll show you mine too.
you showed me yours, I'll show you what do you mean my setup?
Like your doc. I'm always curious how people like format stuff and things. You don't have to, but I am
No,
very
it's like it's sort of it's there's just nothing to see. It's very straightforward.
He's defensive, everybody. Just so you
Not at
know.
all. I like a real comic. I have a notebook that I write
Okay.
things out, especially like if I'm trying to figure if I have like a premise and I don't no I have the punchline, I feel like writing it out by hand helps. And
Yeah.
then I put jokes that are done in a Google Doc.
Interesting. I don't have a system, and so that is part of the problem. I think I kind of have one, but I have like
Where do your jokes live? In your
um,
head?
a lot are in my head. Some are in my notebooks. Some are in what I like as IA Writer because it's offline and it syncs too, and it's really pretty and it
Oh.
has like no distractions. It's very like sparse. I'm a designer by day, so I have an hard on for well designed UI, as you well know.
Oh wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's your porn category.
Yeah, I know. It's very hard to find videos in it. So it's great.
What does UI stand for?
User interface.
Oh, you are a nerd.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go get my notebook, but I feel, you know what? This isn't a regular podcast episode, right? So it's
Yeah, do
fine.
what you gotta do.
Okay. I'm gonna
I'll
get
entertain the people. They like looking at me
Okay.
or hearing me, and this is quite a tour around your home.
Well, and it's my boyfriend's decor style. I don't like it. So just so people
It
know.
looks giant.
It is big. He has a house.
Good
So
for him and you, apparently.
and yeah, I know. I'm a gold digger, and
I
I've
was
always
sensing
felt
that
about
already.
me. Yeah. So that's why I don't date comics.
Um, I don't dig comics for other reasons.
I actually think I would love dating a comic. My boyfriend's a great laugher. He's not the most like on the feet funny, which is a challenge.
Yeah, but like comedy couples are rife with so much trouble. They have the same traumas. It becomes like everyone's always on.
Yeah.
Everything's a bit like I like somebody who is funny but doesn't need the attention.
Yeah, that's not me. So it would never
No.
work.
Yeah. Well. Is that why we were here? Because no, and like that's why I like.
Why? What else don't you like about me? Huh?
Oh my God, you really do that thing where you turn non-insults into digs, and then you ask for more.
My dad taught me well.
Oh God.
I actually was thinking I need to start recording my dad's phone calls because it's basically like my boyfriend described my dad to be so incredibly dry that he can't tell if he's joking or not. And that is
Is
my
he
favorite
joking usually?
style. He is, yeah. He's just like 24/7. That's the only way my dad and I can talk to each other is through humor, basically, which is probably why I'm doing this. So,
Oh wow, that's deep.
yeah.
Is
I
he
don't
super? Is he super Southern?
Yeah. I mean, he's from New Orleans, so yeah. He's a
Does
tough
he
guy.
have a big ol' accent?
No, he's gotten most of it out, but whenever he is in like a role for humor and stuff, he gets more into his like New Orleans accent, which is cute.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, or if he gets drunk or anything like that.
That's common. When people get drunk, they get more Southern. I have seen this. So I was doing the set. So I was doing my set review, and it was a 30-minute set. So of course it took weeks because
Yeah.
I was like, I could only do it in chunks. But then I had like 8 pages of notes of like this and it's actually really validating because it's like hard evidence of like where you're at with the joke. Like this, like for example, it'll say like this one slaps, like it's reliable, or like this one needs work, and like what I was also noticing that's really helpful about it is that there's stuff that you'll say on stage that isn't written that you'll forget if you don't like review it and write it down. Alternate deliveries or like adding a line, like tagging something, because what I do, my stubbornness with jokes lately is like, if it didn't get the laugh I wanted, I will keep tagging it until it does.
Oh, wow. So you're into sadism, basically.
I was gonna say dom, but
Yeah.
but it's fun. But that's kind of fun because then like I can cut out the middle ones and just be like, oh, like so it ended up being a very fruitful exercise, but it was painstaking.
Yeah. It's that. So, do you want to go first today, or how do you want to do this? I guess.
Well, it's just I think for like freestyle, like this is my writing sessions are often weave in and out of conversation and like if there's stuff you want to work on. But I showed you earlier. This is the first time I've done this, and I'm actually really excited about it because one of the reasons that I do have systems is I'm super Virgo OCD, and so it's very calming for me to have like systems. And so I saw a comic, Rory Kilmartin, who I love, do this, and it gave me the idea. She took a cork board, and like they do at SNL, you know how they have the sketches on the big bulletin board?
Yeah.
And so like it gets moved around, the sequences, and then like all the SNL cast members go in before the show to see if their sketch made it or not on the board. Yeah. And because I can remember things visually, I was like, oh, this might actually really help me make sense of like the long set, right? You know, like when it's lots of jokes, like the order, because something I was noticing, I get really nitpicky with myself about, we talked about this last, what?
That's crazy. I would have never guessed. No, just kidding.
Oh, shut up. Shut the fuck up.
You're a perfectionist.
I am. Well, because remember we were talking about and like filler words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was noticing in this exercise, and I was realizing if I can know the hour so well that I know the entrance to every joke that I'm not reaching for it. I feel like I feel like it will just be such a better, tighter performance. So that's what this is designed to do. And visually, it's really pretty because there's lots of colors.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like my holiday weekend, like a little project. But
nice.
I'm hoping it really helps me prepare so much for the Boston headline show, so I can just have fun. You know.
Yeah.
I want to tell people about your joke that I liked this week.
Okay.
The one about your nicknames in your family.
Yeah. You want me to do it, or what do you want me to do?
No. I don't. You don't have to give it away I don't want to make people do material on the podcast. But how recently did you write that one?
That is the very first joke I've ever written by myself.
Oh my God, that was the first one.
Yeah. And it took me like probably 6 months to a year to figure out how to build it out. And then like The joke is like my family's from the South and that they have nicknames and they're like nice, and then they call me faggot, and then I go into like, why can cousin Billy say it? And I'm like, because he's hot. And then it's just like, for some reason that was what my brain came up with. I do have a hot cousin.
I knew it was real.
And then but I feel like it's just, I told my friend about it and he's like, you can't say that on stage. And I'm like, don't you have one? He's like, yeah, but you're not supposed to say it. I'm like,
but that's why you say it on stage.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why it works. And there are certain jokes of mine where I'm like, oh, this only works because everyone else is guilty of it too. Yeah.
Right. I think, unfortunately for a while, my friends were like, your brand is incest and daddy issues. And I was like, great. That's what I want to do. But I tried a new direction actually on it the other week because it was basically like it still ends with faggot, but where I was like thinking it comes from is like, okay, so maybe you can have an idea on that. It didn't go well, but basically how it would have gone is like, my family, like Mima and Papa, they had their own little cute love language. Like Mima would come in the kitchen and she'd be like, hey baby, you want me to fix you something for dinner? And my Papa would just say, shut up, you old bitch, you know you can't cook. And then she'd laugh and laugh. Because like in my family, our love language was cruelty. And so, honestly, Mima would be laughing at this no matter where she is. She's moved on though. Damn it, I fucked it up. I'd say Mima was laughing. She's moved on, so she's certainly laughing. And hell, love you, Mima. And I'd look
fun.
And then I would say, in a way, her calling me faggot was actually really cunty of her, So,
I like it.
But
I like it. I like your delivery on that joke. The version I saw is very. I was gonna say you give.
I was panicked because I was not ready to go up. By the way.
Why?
Because I just lost track of the set order and it was a Don't Tell with like Ray Lau from like.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and Bo Johnson, and I was like, you gotta do good, you're gonna do great. And then like I just lost track and the host was like, hey, how do you want me to do this? And I was like, wow, she is so prepared. She's like 2 people ahead. She was not. And she called me.
Oh God.
Ray Lau turned on my camera for me. Shout out to him. What a gentleman.
I remember doing Zoom shows over lockdown where he was the host. Like when he was like, this was before he blew up, and like he is somebody who like so deserves the moment that he's having because he's so good. And he fucking hustles hard. But that's funny. The thing is though, and I like to think about when you talk about going on. You just said like 1,000 things I want to touch upon, but.
I'm very insightful and interesting.
Well, one of the things I've realized is that like even though it's like tedious, prepare the more you prepare, the more you end up having fun on stage, and the more fun you have, the better you'll do. So I have found that like my worst sets are the ones where I'm like scrambling right before I go on stage to be like, wait, what was that joke? Wait, what's the order? What's this? Because it's almost like you like tighten up. You know what I mean? So I think it's impressive that you were able to stay loose enough to at least appear relaxed. You said before about your brand is, or your friends were giving you shit about your brand is incest and daddy issues, and like there absolutely comes a time.
That's gotta be a clip. That's gotta be a clip. Right? Clip that. No, I mean leave it in. We're gonna make that a social clip.
The thing about that though is that like we all get reduced to something or other that's like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's just all you are. Like I have had to reckon with like. How many of my jokes are about fucking? Like how many? But
you're like, but I have so much sex.
But I have so much sex, and it's like I remember
That's
that
a funny
like,
joke, honestly.
Yeah, I'm actually writing that down. But like remember those like old lady sex experts that like made whole careers out of going on late night shows and being like, here's what you do with your pussy, and everyone's like, oh my god, she's old and she's talking about it. Like I want that to be the end of my career. Like awesome. But okay, rewinding the joke about so one of the reasons that I think the faggot joke. Okay, first of all, also. Non-gay people are always so triggered by the word faggot, and we're like we've heard it so many fucking times. It's like It's not, but like that's a word like cunt that certain people in the audience are going to just tense up by.
Yeah.
That makes them nervous. And then I think one of the reasons, aside from the good writing, that yours works is that no one, and this is a rule throughout comedies, the audience needs to know you're okay.
Yeah.
And I think the way that you deliver that joke so cheerfully, it's like it actually does seem like, oh, he does look back fondly on being called faggot. Like now going to the next one that you wanted to workshop, I think.
Well, they did pull back in that clip, and I never knew how to handle it until just like as behind the sauce thing. I was on a show like a month or two ago, and they did it, and I was cooking and I was crushing, and then they pulled back when I said faggot, and I was like, and somebody's like, oh, and I was like, you can't owe me on my own word, like, and it was like this like old woman in a pink sweater. I was like, I thought you were an ally in the pink, you know?
That's good.
At that, and so
That's
now
good.
I just yell at them for like getting mad at her.
Remember I told you last week about my acne bit and what I said to get them back on that, which was, "Don't worry, I'm hot now."
Yeah,
like,
I do remember that,
it's a similar thing that you have to do. But in the clip I watched, the joke, I thought it worked.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might just keep it that way, and I think I might take the love language, the cruelty into a new joke is what I'm thinking I'm going to do.
Well, okay, I was going to say, because sometimes what starts as like an addendum to a joke becomes this kind of a separate story that you can always tell after it. But so I think when you were telling me the one about your grandparents, I was hoping it would go in the direction of like, she's sweet, and then he says something shitty to her. I think the audience, there could be a line that goes in that lets the audience know that like, she got him back. You know what I mean? Because otherwise it's sort of like, oh, she was abused and she didn't like.
Well, okay. Well, the truth is, that is how they loved each other. Like my mama loved that shit. So I think I need to say this is a true story, and she loved it. You know.
Okay, but maybe the audience needs to be explained why she was okay with it, and in a way that makes them feel okay with it.
Well,
you know,
let's
like
work on that. Yeah, because my papa was that he was funny and like
maybe okay, yeah. Maybe it's because he was funny. Maybe because it turned her on. Like something about like what was she getting out of it? If there's just some context about her either getting him back or getting something out of it, I think people will feel so much better about not worry about her.
Well, I think it's East Coasters and Southerners. You get out of it that you're loved, you know, by somebody being shitty to you. I was just talking with my friend who is, I think this is Jewish culture too. He's like, if your family's not mean to you, then like they don't even love you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and so she just knew that he loved her whenever he would irritate her with that. So it's
so much of like getting laughs though is blending what actually happened with what your artistic creative spin on it is, but also like there's so much thinking about, okay, well that's how my family was, but that's not how everybody's family was. So how do I get them to laugh at this too, you know?
well, maybe I'm just like, what? I thought that was normal. Like, I do think this is like what I've told people and they've laughed at is like, yeah, like my family just roasted each other. Is that not normal? You know?
Yeah.
Like, didn't. So maybe I can play it to be like, she'd laugh, and then if they pull back, I'm just like, what? Like, did you not? Is that not how your grandparents said you loved them? Or like, I don't know.
I don't know why, because of course I bring it back to fucking every time. But like, is that not how your grandparents flirted, or like is that not their idea of foreplay, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a way to make it, because it actually is adorable by the way you've explained it. But I think that the audience just needs. It's like giving them permission to be okay with things.
I kind of want it to be like if they're upset about it, it's almost like culturally insensitive of the audience to be mad at it. I want to turn.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, and if you don't think that's adorable, that's actually kind of like really racist of you. I don't know the way to do it. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, how do I turn it back?
Also, I mean, connecting it to the other joke, like they are connected because it's all about like love language and family. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of. This second part of the joke supports the first part of the joke. Why you were good? What I'm saying is like, in the same way that you're okay with being called faggot, she's okay with So
which that joke is not in that. What's interesting, I'm realizing, and maybe why they didn't work together. That joke is more about me feeling left out by that family and like being around the homophobia. So that's probably why they didn't work blended well together, which is useful to think
Oh,
about.
right. I mean, that's the other thing too, is that like jokes can be written separately, but then depending on the jokes that you told before, it totally changes how people feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud about my new callback.
What is it?
Oh, well, I don't want to give too much away, but I essentially my current opener is about my fucked up relationship with the same celebrity as the closer. So it's like it ties it together in a way that I'm psyched about. And the audience like, because what happened was on the last time I did it, like the second to last joke I did, like I think I'm just gonna drop, but the closer was so strong that it like the audience like came rushing back to me. So I was like,
cool.
okay, yeah, it was fun.
That's fun. Congratulations.
Well, 'cause
you can
callbacks-
always clip it out and then tell me.
Yeah, no, well, I'll just tell you at the end. The callbacks are like they can feel corny if they're forced, but when they're natural, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Because the audience is like, oh, it's like before.
What's interesting is like I just took a clowning class in Vegas, and it's like you should actually do this show. His name's Chad Damiani. He does stand up and clown. You might have a meltdown on no, in a fun way. So like he brings stand ups on a lot because like we're the most afraid to fail, and like the whole art of clowning is being okay in failure, and it's not rushing to the laugh. I feel like it's actually been really good for me as a stand-up because, like, you know, you and I talked about removing like a word from one of my jokes, which I agree, and I had tried. It works better the other way, but like, what I'm
when I suggested that, you were like, yeah, no, you're wrong.
I said yeah, I thought the same thing, and then I've tried it that way, and it didn't work as well. But like, the moral of the story is, I think the less I'm rushing for the laugh, the easier it is, because I feel like you probably relate to the stand-up is like laughs per minute. You got to get them on your side.
I want all the laughs. I want all the laughs.
You know, clowning is like you just let the game build naturally, and you like find the laugh will come. And Jenny Zagrina was actually telling me too. She took the clowning class with me in Vegas. I'm like hosting for her at Zany's in Nashville, and she was like, "Yeah, if you crowd work, it's the same thing. It's just being curious rather than trying to get the laugh." So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's
Well,
kind of interesting.
you know who's was great at that, was great at like waiting for the laugh so much so that it became funny, was Norm Macdonald. Like, especially when he did talk shows and stuff like that. Like there are comics who will like intentionally push it to the limit of like, where's the fucking laugh? Like the longest wind. And yes, there is a sense of like desperation and thirstiness for being too much searching for the laugh. But I also don't like, and a lot of comics do this, which is like they waste your fucking time. Like, I think there's a middle ground to be walked, because to me it's like so self-indulgent when like a comedian will spend like minutes doing a setup or a premise of information that's not even relevant to the joke. So and like the same is true of crowd work. Like there's great crowd work, and then there's like, do your fucking material, because no one's laughed, you know? Like, so I guess it just depends on the comic too.
Well, I think what's really interesting and funny about you, and I don't know if you've joked about it yet, is like there's this real impatience that is like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's very like East Coast. Like you're like, I want the thing now, you know, like, which is very Boston, you know. And it's funny that you live in like LA now, because I feel like it's the complete opposite. Like, my friend in New York, whenever he moved to LA, he's like, Caleb, I tried to sign up for a gym membership, and it took 30 fucking minutes and 2 people. And he's like, just sign me up for the fucking membership. This should take 10 minutes.
That's real.
Like, and it's like, yeah.
That's me every time I've gotten a car. No, it's that's a very great observation about me, and it totally tracks. So I've lived here for a really long time. When I first moved here, I was Boston times New York.
Oh, God.
Nightmare, right?
Yeah.
So when I first got here, people were like, why are you yelling at me? Why are you mad at me? And I was like, I'm not. I thought we were just having a pleasant conversation. So I say like all the time that Los Angeles, living here this long and smoking as much weed as I've smoked living here,
Is you on weed?
Yes, it has sanded down my personality so much. Caleb, that's the crazy thing, is we don't know what I would be like without shit tons of weed being pumped into me at all times.
Have you said this on stage? Like, this is me with a lot of weed. Imagine me before. You know?
I'm writing it down. say it on stage.
I also feel like there's something funny about like Boston times New York. What was that? You know, that sounds like a good setup. What is that to you?
Are you asking me, or are you
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
what you said?
Just tell
Oh
me.
well, it's just an intensity. You know what I mean? It's like an aggressiveness. And people always say too, like when I get back from people, my friends in LA will be like, I can tell you were just in Boston, 'cause it's like
Why? And they're like, because you punched me in the fucking face when I said hello.
because I called you a fuck. No, I was about to say a word that we would have to clip out because
Oh, the R word. I
how
know.
did you
It's
okay?
the Boston. You know why? Because I landed in Boston one time, and this guy goes, I'm on the airport shuttle, and he goes, "Oh, we should have driven." She goes, "You can't drive at this time. What are you effing Awood?" And like, just
Oh, that
like,
was a good Boston. That was a good accent.
I could do it really well if I could say the R word.
Well, that's because like that word is so much associated with a Boston accent. Like
Have
no
you
one
seen
used
me
that word
make
more.
yourself for that? Because that's really funny. Like how hard it was for you to stop saying the R word because of Boston. Like I
It,
think it's just like you're like it's just our culture and it's terrible. Like nobody would argue like
okay, so the truth of it is that I didn't have a hard time not saying that word, but the word that Boston people have owned for so long in a way that's kind of fucked up, but it doesn't mean what it means now, which is queer. Like, oh, that's wicked queer. That's like, don't be queer. Like, and honestly, like, it's a running joke in my family when somebody will use that, and their kid will be like, "Hey, mom, like, you can't use that word anymore," and their mom will say, "Well, Rory uses it all the time," and I'm like, I get to
yeah.
because I do feel like as a gay, like, I get to use that word however the fuck I want, and growing up. Where I grew up, it
This
was
is a
like,
funny joke too. You're like, yeah, grandma's being really queer, you know, like do it in an accent or like
oh, that's
we use
fun.
that all this time. And you're like, well, yeah, you're being really queer or something like how can you use it as an insult immediately?
Um, I use it as an insult. Okay, none of these things I intended on making into material, so you're already being very helpful. But yeah, like that's. I mean, how much have you mind? Like, I know you talk about your family, but like the where you grew up of it all. How much do you talk about that?
Well, what's really challenging is I've lived in 16 different states.
Because you moved around a lot.
Yeah, because my dad is wildly unstable. So like, I was trying
So I
to.
thought you were gonna wait. Joke idea.
Okay.
A lot of people think it's because I'm from a military family, but it's actually like that's where you take like because when someone says they moved around a lot, you think oh their parents were in the military. So you could swing it around to whatever the worst thing your dad did was.
Well, I did. So here's what I tried, and maybe you'll have an idea. It's like I've lived in 16 different states because my dad served as a member in the bipolar community, the unmedicated branch, you know?
I
So
like that.
okay, maybe I should just try that again. I tried it once and it didn't go super well, but I always feel like it's like the confidence that you have to bring to a new joke is really
Oh.
hard, you know?
Oh, of course. And then, well, by nature, like you're a joke that you already know works, you're going to go into more confidently, and that's going to make it work better. But like, what about something where it's like, uh, my dad, I lived in 16 states because my dad got moved around a lot for his job. And by that I mean like asked to leave 16 different jobs.
I like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because honestly, like some of my favorite jokes are the ones where like you think it's going in one direction and then it whips the other way, and you're like, you
Yeah.
got me, like that. And it's also so silly, and it tells it could set up a lot of other stuff about your upbringing.
That's
So
funny.
did you
Thank you.
did you start in New Orleans and end in New Orleans, or like?
No, I was born in South Carolina, and I'm not dead yet, so I haven't ended yet. So I don't
Well,
know if
you know
that'll
what I
be-
mean, like.
I'm in California. I've been in San Francisco for the last like 10 and a half years.
I meant like your childhood, like.
Let's see, where was the last place I lived with my parents? Colorado, I think, was the last place.
And they're not together, right?
No, and I have this funny thing where I think it's funny. I realize like my parents moved me around to 16 different states, none of which were good to be gay in. Like it wasn't ever like a cool like New York or LA. It's like West Virginia,
Yeah.
Kentucky, like all of these terrible places. And I felt like,
Well, maybe okay. Then that joke's waiting to happen. Maybe something
yeah,
like none of which have legalized gay marriage yet. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Or like, yeah. So,
I have a version. I'm pulling it up right now. But
okay,
keep
good.
going. I like hearing new ideas.
Um, none of the 16 different. Yeah, I like. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
I knocked it out of your head, didn't I?
No, there wasn't really anything good yet, but it's
Okay.
it's
Well, at
still
least you
boiling.
admit it.
Oh, I'm aware of when my ideas are shit. Um,
Well, I
so
just
yeah,
kind of funny
16
that
different states, like where all of which where something really awful towards gay people is where
Okay, I found it. You want to hear it?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I've lived in 16 different states because my dad served as bipolar as a bipolar in the unmedicated branch. He's still active. People say if we're close, I say up and down. I always wish we lived in New York or LA, not the swamps of Louisiana, the second cousins of West Virginia, or the suburban hell of Michigan. See, none of this is hitting. I asked my mom why we never lived in cities, and she said we were scared of the crime, the homelessness, and you turning into a bitchy gay. See, that part I think is kind of funny. We were
Yeah.
terrified you'd read us to filth. And I'm like, Mom, just because you're wearing some JCPenney ass outfit and your nails are busted as hell doesn't mean your son won't respect the house of Zeringue, serving proud son, mother. So, I don't know.
I like it. I like it. I think the idea that I was reaching for was something to the effect of like we lived in 16 different states. All of which
have not ratified the Equal Rights Amendment.
yes, or yes, like specific legislation, or like where what's the word for not hazing, but when you like a gay hate crime? What's
Isn't it just hate crime?
maybe like yeah, like where hate crime and gay people isn't only legal, it's it's still quite encouraged, or something
Yeah.
like. I like the
like endorsed. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I enjoy. I have jokes about VA loans. I have jokes about Congress. I have jokes about the government. Like I enjoy like getting specific with jokes that
How
were.
could we get? Yeah. So let's see. 16 different states, none of which voted to legalize gay marriage or something like that. Or
Right, where gay marriage is still not legal.
But the cousin marriage is totally fine.
Yeah. Yes. There it is.
So, in a way, they were kind of looking out for me.
Yes. If you had already talked about your hot cousin, yes.
Right, which is usually my opener for right now.
Good.
Cousin marriage is, I'm like, and I'm also wondering, I wonder which of my two male cousins.
Oh, there are only two? See, it
Yeah.
would be safer for me to do that joke because my mom has 10 siblings, so
Yeah.
I have 1,000 first cousins.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Don't fuck with your family. Are you Italian or what?
Classic Irish Catholic, no
Irish-
birth control.
Oh, God. Okay,
Yeah.
the only ones that can keep up with the Italians. The other...
Oh, well, it's so funny you say that because where I grew up, it was all just Irish or Italian people. So I know Italian people very well. What's that?
That's why we get along. I'm Italian. You're Irish. There we go.
You are? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I have jokes about. Have I told you my jokes about
Wait,
how I'm.
hang on. I have to write this down. Gay marriage is
Okay.
still not legal, but oh yeah, cousin marriage is. Okay, sorry. I was like, my brain won't get it down. You haven't told me jokes about Italian people.
No, I'm really glad. Actually, I'm really proud of how we landed on that. I think that joke's gonna work.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh well, I'm super attracted to the Italian guys who work in New York pizzerias because they have such swag and
Yeah.
big dick energy. Like they just fucking like handle the sit like, and so yeah. Oh, and so there's a whole bit
That's
about
so funny. Have you
there's
done that?
what's that?
You've done a whole bit on that?
It's about how I'm not afraid. All right. Anyone who listens to the podcast this far and gets to get the joke spoiled.
Okay.
The punch on that one is, or maybe it's more of the tag is, I'll suck a dick for a calzone. I'm not afraid to say it. Because I love that's another specificity one that I love is who thinks about calzones. It's such like a low tier Italian restaurant menu item.
Do you make fun of you liking calzones afterwards? And
Should I?
I don't. I feel like their Parks and Rec does their whole thing about how calzones are terrible. Like I feel like you could be.
Oh,
like,
I haven't seen that.
And that's how you knew I grew up poor and the Irish.
Right.
calzones are such a poor food. Like it's like,
Are they?
and you'd blow a guy for a pizza roll or something like that. You know, like I feel like what are similar things you
Well,
could do?
so the way I open that
You
joke.
should see me at a Sabaros. You know, like I go
Wait,
nuts.
that's a good tag. You should see me. Well, the beginning of that joke is about how my family doesn't want to hear anything about my love life because they don't approve of my lifestyle. And so it's set up as it's homophobia, and then I go into my brother literally said to me, "You're hooking up with the man who works at the pizzeria just to get free pizza."
Yeah.
And I say, "Well, that's not all. Well, that's not all I get." And so anyway, it goes on, but
Are they actually homophobic?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
and that's the thing. It's not. It always drives me crazy when people think like take your jokes so literally. I knew your cousin would. I knew you had a hot cousin because that felt real. But people think it's all like honest.
So you're a liar, is what I'm hearing.
I'm a
basically.
writer. It's
You're a liar. Oh,
stand-up.
it's a
Stand-up is
fine,
not about.
fine line about that.
Stand-up is not about doing your memoirs.
So-
It's about taking your life and making it funny.
So here's like what I have learned is like some people bend a lot more than others naturally. Like me and Johnny Stein, who played Luigi, were like the director one day was like, "I lie about all of my jokes. Are any of your jokes true?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like literally 98% of my jokes are true." And she's like, "That's crazy. Nobody does that." She's like, "Johnny, are you lying in your jokes?" He's like, "No."
Well, it's to
So,
me.
like,
It's, No,
yeah.
to me, I think 95% of comedians, it's you take your life, but it's life like
I
there's
should defend it more. You're doing
yeah, there's the funniest version of it, and then there's what actually happened. It doesn't matter what actually happened. No one gets points for telling exactly what happened. This is what Irish and Italian people are good at, which is you take what happened and then you make it funnier, and
Yeah.
that's called writing. And so,
Oh my God, is that what we're supposed to be doing?
Yes!
Fuck. Oh my God.
No, but the thing is that you already do it. You know you already do it, but like this is not therapy. This is not like a confession. And actually, I think that's something.
This is your Boston coming out. This is not therapy. This
Well,
is not
no.
boohoo cry time
I
on
hate,
the mic.
this goes back to what I was saying about people wasting my fucking time on stage. Like
You
I
have
don't
to do
need
this.
details that have nothing to do with
Okay.
the fucking punchline.
I have a pitch for you.
What?
I feel like they're. Jeez.
What?
What? So aggressive. Okay, so I have a pitch and then I have a story about that. So I feel like there's a very funny crowd work thing where you ask somebody a question and you're just like, Jesus, you're wasting my fucking time. You know, like, get to the fucking point. Like, you gotta do it, like, structure it in a way to where you ask them but like, and then you talk about how, like, you're, like, you could set it up as, like, you're from Boston, but you moved to LA and you sanded down all your edges. So you're like a lot more patient. You've done a lot of weed. Watch. And then you're like, so tell me about you. Where are you from? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, fucking hurry.
So set it up like I'm evolved now.
Yeah. And you're like, aren't I doing so much better? Like, I would have
that's
just
so
punched her.
good.
Yeah. That would be so fun. Because you have
no.
such an intensity. Like, it's fun.
Oh, well, okay. So it's funny that you say that because you're making me realize there's definitely an untapped sector of my personality there that I've scratched a little bit of the surface of. But like, I noticed it when I was doing the set review where I watched back my set. I was like, oh, like
You were
there
mad
was
at
one-
yourself.
What's that?
Were you, like, yelling at yourself?
A little bit of that, and then like get to the fucking point. But also like I was like writing down in my notebook. You kind of got mad for no reason on the punchline. And then I think I wrote right after it, that was interesting.
Yeah. You kind of got mad for no reason, and then, like, Boston, you takes over, and you're like, quit being a fucking queer, you know?
Oh, God. I just said God in a Boston accent because that you just sounded like what my brain says to myself all the time. Don't be queer about it. But yeah, like the set that I was looking at, I was like, I got mad for no reason, and then I caught myself, and then I did a little bit with the audience where I was like, and we're back, like as though like I just blacked out for a second. That's good stuff. That's good.
It's really
These are good
funny to
suggestions.
call out whenever you get mad for no reason on stage too. Okay, I want to tell you a story about. So, like, I'm leaning into being bitchier on stage because, unfortunately, I think that's how I was raised. It's like, that's how you're funny. And
Well, you
that's
just
how
said, yeah, your family.
And so, like, because I was flustered from this set, this is going to be a new recovery of mine. I just, like, completely lost my space, like, halfway through. And I had just done a banger joke, if I do say so myself. And then it was silent, and I realized they're all waiting for something. And so I was like, just let the silence stretch out. And then I just was like, what? Like, and they were like, what?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And then, like, one of the comics, Genevieve, she's like, that was so funny when you just screamed at the audience. Like, what do you want? You know?
Because essentially, like, you were pausing, figuring out the next thing you were going to say, and then you yelled at them for being impatient, even though no one said anything.
I think that, like, it's clear they're like, I know that they know that I forgot my
Right.
you know? It's very clear to all of us. And I'm just like, what do you want? Like, deal with it, you know?
There is so much. Well, that's like when my armpit towels fell out, and it's like
somebody diagnosed you on Instagram. Did you
I
see
saw.
that?
Well, but like that's the thing is that there's so much mileage that can be gotten when something unexpected happens, and then you have a good response to it, and then the audience is psyched. It's like that's. I know. There was something. Oh, I had a riff about the show that I was doing was on the Sunset Strip. The venue is right next door to Whiskey A Go Go, which is like one of those famous like Hollywood spots from the heyday of rock and roll. And my next joke was about how musicians are good to hook up with, but not to date. And I was like. I was like, you guys, we're where the musicians are. It's rock and roll. It's Whiskey A Go Go. It's very exciting. Who knows who any of you will go home with? And for some reason, because they knew that I must have just thought of that in the moment, and also like sort of the vague history of the situation, that went over really well. And I think it was just that because I was it doesn't work when it feels like you're doing like. When it feels like they could just be watching a movie of you, like you got to reach into them. I think
that's like that's the big thing about clowning that I really like. I honestly am trying to train myself out of the stand-up mindset a bit more because.
Okay, well, everyone's going to be driving them. Everyone's mad at me right now because I haven't asked where did the clowning class come from.
Oh, it's Chad Damiani. He teaches a lot in LA, but he also he performs stand-up and clown. He is a.
But what made you be like I got to do this?
My stage fright. I have been really afraid of all of that stuff when I said in the last episode with the relationships that suffered, and I don't know what inspired me. I think here's what it is. I saw him at Sketchfest, and I saw him make people laugh for 20 minutes with just flashlights. It was crazy, and he was having so much fun. The audience was having so much fun, and he brought everybody. Clowning is all about building the game and letting people and then the game falls apart. And so I was like, oh, I want to just learn how to be in the room more. So I went down to LA and I took it. The very first class I got in the New York Mag because of him, because they were writing on him. And I just learned so much. So I went to Vegas again to study with him. We should do one sometime. I think you'd like it.
Well, did you watch the Zach Galifianakis show Baskets?
No.
It was all about clowning, but it was his character went to France to study
They're very mean in France. They're very mean in France.
But it was essentially there's the American
the French clowns are awful.
Right, well, but the whole point was he was a clown snob because he had gone to learn the art of it, and Louis Anderson played his mother, Christine Baskets. And it's never addressed that it's Louis Anderson in drag. Okay. And Louis won an Emmy for it, and it's one of the greatest comedic performances I've ever seen because Louis Anderson isn't doing I loved Mrs. Doubtfire and I loved fucking when Eddie Murphy dresses as a lady, but that's over the top drag. Louis Anderson was playing it. He was playing his mother. It's so. Christine Baskets on that show, Basket. You guys, if just for people listening, and by the way, I think because of your clowning experience, you would kind of be interested to watch. So,
would you do a class with me?
What's that?
Would you do a clowning class with me?
Okay, so you won't be surprised to learn that I'm not good at classes.
Yeah. Well, I think you might be good at these. Because I think it is more ADHD friendly where it's all about look, okay, so I would never do one where I have to paint my face or wear a red nose because my ego is too big for that right now and I'm not ashamed
and my dick is too big for that.
Wow. Well, that's a humble brag. So I'm
I have a rule, sorry to interrupt, but I have a rule about if you have a big dick, you should never in comedy you should never talk about it that way because it immediately the whole point is to be making fun of yourself and it's there's no bragging in comedy.
Are you telling us you have a tiny dick?
I'm saying no, what I'm saying is that I'm very meticulous about never I've noticed it on stage where other comics have done it where like the premise is like, yeah, so I have a huge cock and I'm like,
but it's always straight dudes that are doing that.
And it's probably somebody who like you know how those guys are like, yeah, I'm hung, and then you're like, that's 6.5 at best. Like, no, it's like those guys who like think they're hung but they're not, and because it's a fundamental principle of mine in comedy that like I'm the victim of the joke. I'm not the cool guy. And so I'll tell you this now. I have a joke about, there's 2 parts to it, and it's about being told that I'm, much like I said about musicians, this was being said about me, that I'm more hookup material than boyfriend material.
Oh?
What?
That's sad.
Well, okay, don't do the thing that we hate when the audience does, which is go, So that it being told I'm hookup material, not boyfriend material, and I say, what does that even mean? The original punchline was that you got good dick and an annoying personality, and that does work. And then I say, and then my response is, that actually tracks or something like that. And then I changed it because it felt too much like I was breaking my own rule. And then by changing it just a little bit, you got good dick but an annoying personality. And then I say something like, I have heard that before. So it's like I'm conceding to the fact that like I have this shortcoming, but it falls short of being like, check me out. Like, because I hate that in a joke. It's like there should never be a moment where like you're like bragging to the audience in a joke, unless you're about to slap yourself down.
I was just trying to think, how could you show you have an annoying personality instead of like...
Oh, I think by the time I tell that joke, I've shown it in other
What
jokes.
if you just said that, and you're like, and by the time we've gotten to this joke...
Yeah, as you can all tell, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Wait, okay, so is there anything, was there any other stuff that you wanted to like any of your stuff that you're working on that you wanted to like brainstorm about?
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like we haven't looked at much of yours, and you have.
No, you gave me a ton of stuff. I want to work on yours.
Okay. Well,
this is very polite. It reminds me of when it's like, no, I've blown you for long enough. It's your turn. Yeah.
And it's always back to sex. You're right. You know.
It's just.
You know what? And there's nothing wrong with that.
My therapist was asking me this week because I was stressed.
To go. I love this. I'm so excited to see where the story goes. Please continue.
So I was excited to tell my therapist that my joke about, I did a TikTok and reel about the sex bruises that I had. It always goes back to sex. Yeah. And it currently has 450,000 views on TikTok. And so my running joke with my therapist is like, you're really good for my act in my career. Yeah. And so I was telling him about that. And then he knew that I was stressed out this week. And he was like, what are you doing when you're not trying to be productive and get things done? And when do you turn your brain off? And I was like,
yeah, literally never. Yeah.
Well, no, I was like, when I have sex, like when I'm, like, and I was like, that's honestly the truth. Like that is the like stress relief. And he was like, good. He was like, I was worried that you weren't making time for that. And I was like, oh no, making plenty of time, probably making too much time. And so, yeah.
Well, I think there's something I want to kind of like, okay, there's like jokes about this that maybe you can help me on. So I was, God, where do I even start? Yeah, with gay men, it's like we want to have a bunch of sex, but then also we want to like marry and have like a family. And like there's like this constant war between like being just a complete debauchery person versus like a respectable man. Okay,
well, don't speak for all of us. That's how you feel. Yeah.
Well, and like I think, well, sure. And like what I think is the funny joke is like I was with this guy that I think super hot, and whatever, hell no. I call him Mexico City boyfriend. We're at dinner because like I met him in Mexico City on like a gay tour thing, and like we made out one time, and I was like, oh, and I think he's awesome and beautiful. So we're at dinner, and he's like, my type. We're like, what's your type? And he's like, my type is like short white dudes with tattoos, which is literally me. And he's like, so I'm gonna go find one on Sniffies, And I'm like, what the fuck, Because like I feel like as a gay man, like it's really hard because if you're a straight person, you can just be like, oh, they're in a relationship. You know, if they weren't in the relationship, we'd totally hook up. But like as a gay man, that's just like, no, I just think you're ugly. You know, like that's like you just get the unvarnished truth of it all. You know, no, you're just
Well,
fat. You know, like, it's just like there's
well, okay.
no,
I think not every gay relationship is open, and not every straight
I know,
relationship is
but like, do we
monog.
have to? Do we have to like call that out? You know what I
I
mean?
think
Necessarily.
I do because something that I am sensitive to about on stage is like, okay, so you've asked me a bunch of times about how I feel about pride, and I really had a strong aversion to it for many years, particularly when I was new to gay, because I did not like being reduced to a stereotype, and I did not like it being assumed about me that like I was all of these things because I like dudes. And and then having done stand up for so long, I realized that like people can see nuance and that isn't assumed about me. But I think the something that I try to work against in my act is like the idea that gay people are a monolith because we are they're like and I was also pretty judgy about open relationships until I realized that some of the best relationships I've seen have been open couples, but like,
Yeah.
but some of them have just been hedonists, and some of them have just been like, some of them have been in relationships like that are really fucked up and open, and so I think that going back to the what's interesting about tell me the setup for because okay, so you're at dinner with this guy. I like the part where it's he I love the part where he's describing you, but he's looking elsewhere. Like that has happened. I feel like that's applicable. That's not a gay specific situation. Like I feel like it's essentially being friend zoned, right? Like
Yeah.
and
It's a
so
very different. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like being gay friends. Okay, so we have different philosophies on this, by the way. Like, I have no issues with leaning into the stereotype. I'm very much of the Robbie Hoffman mindset of like, I guess I'm like really trying to not worry about offending people anymore in my world.
it's
And
oh
that's
no,
like,
it's not about offending people. It's about it's not about offending people at all. And clearly, you're not worried about offending
well,
people.
here's what I think is like, everybody deserves to be made fun of, and that's the great equalizer. And I think what is fun, and maybe you're pointing something interesting here, is like there's a fun thing of like, listen, not every gay relationship is open, just like 98% of them, you know, or something like that. Like how do you play with the stereotype a little bit and break it or double down on it and stuff?
I
It's
think
like a
you know what
fun
it is.
thing.
Sometimes for me, it's that whenever there's a joke that's about oh well it's all like this, I always think not y- and I don't think this about you, but
That's okay if
my
you did.
no, but my mind goes to oh they wrote the like there's a little kernel to me of like, and this happens with conservative comedians sometimes where you're like this joke is all about them reaffirming what's that term for when you're searching for affirmation of how you see things. It's a
Their
therapy term.
worldview,
What's that?
narrative,
Confirmation bias.
confirmation bias.
Yes. So to like whenever I'm listening to and I like it like I don't think I need to say this, but like I like I think of you as like a comic that I would go see myself. But like there are certain comics where I'm like it borders almost into like well you know how it is. It's always like this. And I
Yeah.
always think it never is always like that.
Yeah.
Because and also like something as a going into like the part of it about like gay people always being open. Like I remember when I was in a relationship many years ago, a long time ago, I always felt on the defensive a little bit, it being assumed that my relationship was open because it was with a guy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you think you get to like get away with things with me because you just assume that my relation like there was the funniest time was when we were at a party and this straight couple asked them to go home with us, and I couldn't stop laughing at the proposition. Like I was just
Yeah.
like I just turned into a 13-year-old, and I was like I was like Beavis and Butthead, and my ex who wouldn't entertain it at all. And then my female friend who was my straight girlfriend who was drunk at the party went up to the lady in the couple and said, "Jesus, lady, how many dicks do you need?"
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, what
But
I
anyway,
think is funny.
going back to your joke.
Yeah. I kind
The
of want to make
funniest part for me is that it's that moment of, oh, I thought this was going to be something and now it's not. You know?
My friend suggested that I heighten that part more too, where
Yes.
she's like, you could just be like, I really like short white dudes with gap teeth from New Orleans, like that name starts with K and ends with B. So I met this guy Kabubba on like I'm gonna go fuck him, but I'm like like, but
Um,
I think
di-
I'm really interested in like I kind of want to annoy people that have that reaction that you do, or like make fun of that reaction because it's useful to know people have that. Um, because I don't have that reaction because I guess I don't get upset about people assuming those things about me. So it's interesting, which is fine.
well,
I think
but
there's something fun there about that. Why don't I get upset but you do? You know what I mean?
oh,
Like,
I don't get. Well, no, I mean, I don't think it's about getting upset or not getting upset. It's more just
you're annoyed. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's useful information.
it's well, the thing is that it hits on the like.
Wait. Okay, what if it's this? Okay, sorry. Can I give you? Look, here's
Yeah.
what. So like, I've noticed this thing in the gay world, like, where some people really don't like us being reduced to stereotypes, and like some people don't mind it. And I think that it's usually the tops that don't. It's like if I just want to be used as a sub bottom, of course I don't want to. I don't mind being erased to nothing, or something like that.
Do you have like this is also getting into the territory of like there's a learning curve of what people in the audience is standing understand, like their baseline knowledge of gay sex and relationships and stuff like that. You and I live in LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's going to be a totally different response to a lot like baseline understanding than you would get in other places. And I think that's probably relevant here as well. But I think I guess regardless, it's not really about, it doesn't trigger me because I'm not in a relationship that's monogamous or open and I don't judge either thing, but I would just be conscious of the fact that like that people might not be going into the joke with the same like, oh yeah, all gay relationships are open. Like they might not know that or feel that way. Or like so I guess it's just sort of like if you're building off of an assumption that not everybody in the audience has, then sometimes you might not get like the full response.
I get that. I think what I'm looking for is I want to keep it the same way and then like catch the thing where people are like, I'm not like that and I'm upset and I want to say something funny to catch them later. Because I like to set up a trap later where they then feel seen and then I'm like, you thought I forgot about you. Boom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how could I do that?
Well, I guess I'm asking. I guess I'll ask you, like, just from like when you wrote the joke, like, is it more? Is the funny part more about the fact that, because maybe it's two parts. Like maybe there's the part that he's describing you, but he's not interested in you, and then there's the part where you're in a relationship, but that's not the problem. Right.
Yeah.
Like. And then I think if it's like
maybe it's not a gay thing, maybe it's an open relationship thing.
Well, also, I think yes, and I think it would be relevant if the audience knows before you tell that joke about the rules of your relationship, because I would not bank on the fact that because you're gay, the audience is like, oh, he's allowed to do this,
But people do assume that. I feel like also
that's as a gay person, I don't.
Yeah, we might disagree on it, but
no,
I think
it's not about disagreeing. It's just about like the consensus. Like,
what's wrong?
That's like saying that like, oh, well, all gay people do cocaine. I've never done cocaine in my life.
I haven't either, but most of my friends have.
Well, but that's the thing is that like, I mean, every marginal.
So there's something interesting here, is what I'm hearing, because like I bet most of your friends have too, right?
What?
Done cocaine.
Well, Caleb, this goes back to what I was saying before, is that like I've never seen RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
I've never done cocaine. I've never done meth. I've had 2 threesomes in my life. Like we aren't a monolith. That's the truth. And so And so there are things, and yes, like a black comic could go on stage and talk about, hey, watermelon, but why would they? You know, like that doesn't really serve any purpose. But I think that playing with perceptions is really interesting. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily like, because that like also borders on like the. I guess I'm just so much more interested in the intricacies, especially of that situation, because there's so much to milk there out of the fact that like the situation you were in, you had made out with this guy, so you knew that he had some level of interest, but then he takes it a different way. But it's not because you're in a relationship. Like I feel like the way that you like stack the information, it like could really like going back to like the building, or maybe even like what you were saying about the clowning of it all. Like, it's like, it seems like it has promise, but no, but maybe, but I am his type, but not. And then it's not. And then, so, okay, do you talk about your relationship? Do you have jokes about that?
Yeah, I do it in the board games joke, and about like us maybe wanting different futures and stuff. I don't really talk about us being open or stuff, but I mean, I also think a lot of stuff can be inferred through context in that. So it's like, how much do I have to give is always a question.
Well, and if you don't have a joke about it, then what's the point of, you know?
Yeah. I want to give as like little as possible.
You don't like talking about your relationship on stage?
No, I don't mind that. I'm saying like, I don't know what I would joke about with the open relationship thing, I guess, you know?
Well, that's a funny thing too, is that like there's context in my life that like would be relevant to the joke, but I don't have a joke about it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's yeah, that part can be tricky. So how did that situation end?
Oh, I mean, he went and fucked 3 guys that night and was like, I got like 3 loads.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
Like,
oh,
oh,
God.
okay. Well, yeah, you just really don't like me, I guess, is what I'm hearing, you know?
That's almost like unnecessarily. Why would he have to tell you that?
I mean, that's just like, he's just open about that kind of stuff, you know? That's just his relationship with
And this was a gay cruise?
No, this was just the clowning class in Vegas.
Oh, this was the oh, I don't know. I thought it was a cruise.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound very gay cruise. So
he was in the class.
Yeah.
Was he funny?
He's very funny. Yeah, he's very, very funny.
Would you be okay if you were attracted to somebody and then you saw them not be funny? Would that be an instant ick?
It would be hard. Yeah, it would be
not the good kind.
Yeah, not the good kind. It would be disappointing to say the least. Yeah, like if they're really bad at something. Yeah, but also, I don't like when they're better at me.
Ooh, so you have to be the funnier one in the relationship.
Like I was like, damn, he's doing really good in this.
But wouldn't that be like so hot, like for somebody to be like, oh wow, you're like.
I don't think. Yeah, maybe not with my ego for this art form. Yeah, it's challenging.
All I know is that when Damon Wayans Jr. came up to me after I did a set and gave me ideas for the joke, I was he's very straight and very married, but I was like, this could be the hottest moment ever. Because I was like, wait, you're definitely funnier than me and more successful than me, but you're invested in my act and we're having this moment together. He could have had his way with me, but he didn't.
Yeah, but not all gay people do that, Rory.
Do what?
I'm just fucking with
you. Do what? Fuck somebody because they gave you a tag.
Yeah. It's an hour, so I figured we'd do like an hour, so I have to head out. Is that okay?
Well, it feels like you're storming out, but yes, that's perfectly fine.
Well, I didn't know. I thought it would be an hour, right?
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. That works. I'll hit the bye.